Go by here fine. She may go make a poison. When it trip for few, she know me. Get poison go.
Coaching is putting your thinking into action. That is what coaching is about. Now, I studied them, I showed them, I revisited the match they played against us. Then I saw that we gave them enough space to operate because they are full of techniques. The boys, the 14, 20, 10, 8, 12. Very, very with the ball when you give them space. So we try something called tracking and getting free. Track them, get free and play. So we deny them the space for them to maneuver.
In terms of power play, it's zilch. If you watch our game against Mali, the young man was running away from taking the ball. He didn't want it. Give me away, give me away. He was practically running away. He was running away when we were being marooned and we were under attack from the Malians, and he had the opportunity of staking a claim in the team. Anytime an attempt was made to him with the ball, with the pass,
he's running away.
He's running away, leaving the ball,
hiding
behind the opponent. This whole Telemundo, it's like something that sometimes
for the uninitiated, Telemundo is a channel that shows telenovelas.
Yes.
So this is like a soap opera.
It's like a soap opera. This clearly is a soap opera. It's winding down. So let's call Extremadura man from Extremadura man. Baba, when the boy is coming to the player, he's running away. You know what's the game? And shockingly, there's a certain miraculous acrobatism.
Na message say there, masin san players akuku da mama mutim na gina masa. Players be na masin san.
Team na no ayehye.
Team wo de bubo players na mama.
Sakim CH.
Where?
Sakim CH.
Aha.
Team over na.
What's that?
Team over na.
Aha.
Cavers.
Why?
Cavers. Cavers mu nyina ya san omo. Eze sister sikupulator mu nya bi mo. Sister sikupulator onya bi mo. Ayi omo say ayi Brazil anyway. Ya sign no.
Brazil ni bay.
Omo friend wa say Silva so wa Thiago Silva.
Aha.
Thiago Silva. Eze
me the Felix you would get stand. My son be say me Adamu. I not gonna need my job. Go marry. No, you see, I don't need my job. Go marry.
So you refuse to say they punish him.
They're not the punish. It serves you right.
A wonderful evening to everybody listening out there. Benjamin Nketia here. Sports Panorama. We are live. Today it won't be 90 minutes. A little bit of our time has been shaved off. But still Vim Day. Show proudly brought to us by Betway. It's all about the aviator. Say Charlie, action still day Betway. Honestly be true, Charlie. You've been investing in football and the investments are taking haircuts. Aviator is your way to go. We'll be getting into some talk of the Black Stars Also, we'll talk about the firing of Julian Nagelsmann and the hiring of Thomas Tuchel. Let's take a quick detour back to Parliament, where the results will be announced as far as the ministerial nominees' approval is concerned. So let's just go back to Parliament real quick, and then we'll come back and continue with the show.
3 voters were absent. So 272 did exercise their franchise. The results, the voting are as follows. Honorable Katie Hammond, 154 yes, 116 noes, rejected 1, abstained 1. Honorable Brian Champon, 167 yes, 98 noes, rejected 4, abstentions 3. Honorable Stephen Asamoah Boateng, 147 yes, 122 noes, 3 abstentions. Honorable Muhammad Amin Adam, 152 yes, 117 noes, rejected 1, abstentions 2. Honorable Osei Bonsu Amwa, 149 yes, 120 noes, abstentions 3. Honorable Dr. Stephen Amwa, 146 yes, 123 noes, 3 abstentions. Honorable members, the House has accordingly approved the nomination of the following persons as ministers and a deputy minister in accordance with Articles 78(1) and 79(1) of the Constitution. They are Honorable Katie Hammond, as eligible appointment to the position of Minister for Trade and Industry. Honorable Brian Champon as Minister for Food and Agriculture. Honorable Stephen Asamoah Boateng as Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Honorable Mohammed Amin Adam as Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance. Honorable Osei Bonsu as Minister of State at the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development. Honorable Dr. Stephen Amwa as Deputy Minister at the Ministry for Trade and Industry. Honorable members, on your behalf, I will congratulate the Minister designate for earning your be appointed by His Excellency the President to the ministry aforementioned. Congratulations. Before we can think of honorable members adjourning the House, we have one very important item.
So the announcement has been made. Back to the sports. Nathan Kwao is here. Santiago Pichi. El Pichi. Oh, Pichichi. Evans Ofochumanso is here. Charlie, finally. Remember last time he joined us on radio. Jesse Amponsa, a.k.a. The Professor. The Professor. These days, we have an associate professor in the studio with you. Susu Graham is here. And guess who will be joining us all the way from Kumasi over the phone? Sheikh is not playing. Sheikh says, whether in spirit, in flesh, he will join us. We'll be linking up with Coach Christopher Nimley. He's in Kumasi. He was there to watch the game. We'll be getting to him in a bit. But you can also join us via text, WhatsApp, and Telegram. You can get to us via text, WhatsApp, and Telegram. 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. You can also link up with me on Twitter at Kojo Nketia. Just use the hashtag Sports Panorama. Let's get into that talk of that Ghana versus Angola game. 1-0 is how it ended right at the death. Antoine Semenyo with a rebound that ended up in the back of the net. 3 points is all that mattered. A few things before the game itself. Let's talk about green grass, because it appears that some way, somehow, we never seem to have the pitch right when it comes to our games. I mean, the Baba Yara Stadium was closed off for a bit to revamp the grass, but we saw the green grass that was basically trapping the ball the entire time. So, interestingly, I've heard a couple of theories. There's a theory I've seen from a horticulturist on social media saying that there's a good possibility that the handlers of the Black Stars gave the NSA specific dimensions or height measurements to grow the grass to based on the capabilities of the Angolans. I'm not saying this is true, but I'm saying it's a theory I have heard. And then also there are those who say that, well, in the end, we just don't take proper care of our grass and all that is much ado about nothing. Let me start off with you, Susu.
Sorry, I just want to ask the theory again. You are saying that we grew the grass high because we are afraid of the Angolans.
Because we knew our scouting report probably said, and that's the person saying that There have been instances where in Europe coaches like to water pitches,
exactly.
grow grass extra long.
So they usually the reason I'm surprised by this theory is usually you grow the grass long when you come to play a Barcelona or a Man City who you expect to dominate the ball. With all due respect to Angola, they didn't go to the last AFCON. The AFCON has been expanded to 24 teams and they couldn't qualify. So I don't think they're a team you should be afraid of and growing the grass. It doesn't add up to me.
Well, but I mean, if you watched the balance of the game yesterday, would that be justified in a bit? Because they made our life way more difficult than we anticipated.
I think they came to be compact and kind of keep us, make it difficult for us. Look, I think the simple things, we don't take care of things. Let's not go around and be...
Let me also say that, just before you continue, I listened to the Director General of the National Sports Authority today. He says that Chris Hughton says that this is one of the best pitches he's ever had to play on. I'm saying no, it's not. These are not my words.
He said Chris Hughton
yes,
said.
He said Chris Hughton. He said Chris Hughton.
But we've not heard Chris Hughton say.
He's saying yes.
Chris Hughton said.
That's how, to put that on record. Okay. The NSA boss says that Chris Hughton saw the pitch and said, "Wow, pitch pa." And so, according to him, his men had done a yeoman's job, or they had done a good job in terms of getting us a good surface. Just quick thoughts on that before we even move on to the football.
We don't have good pitches in this country. We don't manage our pitches well. We don't manage things well. And it's funny this has come up because I was talking with Pichichi and Gabi earlier. I think, was it their Hearts training you guys were watching? Yeah. And you were talking about the comments about how the pitches are nice. And you should have seen the praise for the pitch because it was nice. So when things are nice, people will say good things. When things are bad, people also say bad things. People are not just saying it for saying it. Because that Hearts pitch, there was a reason they were getting praise in the... You can go on the YouTube, the video on the YouTube channel. Yeah. It was on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Where was Heart's YouTube channel? YouTube. So we were watching, people were giving the pitch fans. Like, it was the pitch. People were praising the pitch like it was a star player. That's how impressed they were by the pitch. And I said that. And I said this quite cynically, I might add. I have to be honest. It was a very cynical comment. But I said that, what's the point of praising now if in 5 years we are going to be here and the pitch is dead? We complain every week on Scorecard. We are talking about pitches.
It's literally
every time the Black Stars.
Feature of the
so
show.
For me, I don't want us to pretend that it was a strategic thing. Even if it was a strategic thing, even if we wanted the pitch to be as nice as possible, I've not seen. We don't take care of pitches in this country, so let's not make it like it was an intentional thing. Maybe Chris Hughton did say that. It's very possible. Maybe he was just trying to flatter them because he's definitely lying. If he said that, he's lying. I don't like because. And it's not like I want to bring us down, but we've done shows here where we've talked about the Baba Yara Stadium and the things. The reason why we had to even go and get special dispensation from CAF to play there for the Nigeria match. Why are we having to get special dispensation for one of the premier stadiums in our country to play a CAF qualifier? Do you get what I'm saying? Yep. So we don't take care of things. So I don't want to kind of get into... We don't take care of things. We need to do better with these things. We've complained about the NSA doing concerts when they should be letting their pitch rest and things. We know what has been happening with pitches in this country. So I don't want to hear any of these excuses, to be frank. It's disrespectful to us, honestly. It really is.
They said they grew the grass extra long after scouting. It's possible. I'm not saying it's possible. This Director General Peter Chumesi also says that this is one of the best pitches he has personally seen, and Chris Hughton has testified to it. So, yeah, that's the word out there. Let me get to another issue that is pre-game. Andre Ayew, he was not on the team sheet that the FA initially published. Further checks showed that the list that CAF had, which typically the artwork from the FA is generated from, also did not have his name on it. And I have checked with some sources from CAF and they say that indeed his name did not come to them. And so there's that situation over there presently.
Question. Could it be that because of the red card in the AFCON, it's a 3-game ban, that there are 2 games against Nigeria in this game, that maybe he was banned rather...
That will muddy the waters because
I have to
affected the FIFA World Cup too.
No, but you see, it's a CAF. I think it's a CAF ban, not a FIFA ban, which is why it's a World Cup qualifier. That's what I'm wondering.
And the point is, that's the case.
I'm just wondering.
If that's the case, we'll be in more trouble because he shouldn't have probably even shown up on the pitch.
Administratively, you get a notice saying.
I'm wondering because
but the truth of the matter is that if and I. Look, I agree with Evans that if you remember the Lion Kingston, he had the red card
at AFCON.
At the AFCON, but it affected him for the World Cup.
Okay.
So clearly,
it cuts across.
It cuts across. FIFA and then CAF. There is no difference between them. Once there is a red card and at an international tournament, it affects. So clearly,
they say it's an error. It's an error on the CAF side that the FA. I'm saying I've heard two different theories. Somebody from CAF has told me that they didn't have the name. I've heard from certain sources from the FA that the name was sent there and it just did not appear. And now, if you look at the team sheets correctly, there were some mistakes on the team sheets.
They made a mistake with the numbers for Inaki Williams and stuff.
So Inaki and Jordan had the same numbers. Gideon Mensah's name appeared twice on the list, and then there was also Kingsley Schindler, who appeared as a starter on the initial CAF list that was published and wasn't a starter. Sure. If you look at the Angolan side, they also had a lot of mix-ups on their side, and so it's very possible that this is an honest mistake. But we are just saying that looking at who Capito is a very big figure in the team.
Exactly.
When these things happen, you open doors for all kinds of speculation because already Ghanaians are looking at that whole, Chris Hughton has benched Andre, or Andre is not on the team sheet. That is huge it has big implications for Andre's future with the team and indeed what direction the team itself is heading in. So these things are not to be taken lightly. But I think for us here, we want to believe that this was an honest mistake because Andre was dressed, he took part in warm-ups, and he sat on the bench as well. So I personally want us to put rest to that. Just quick thoughts on that, PG.
Let me get to that. I think I like how Andre managed this one. Despite the fact that he was not even starting, not even in the 18-man list, I like the fact that he was still warming up. He was still there with his teammates trying to rally support for the Black Stars. And for anyone who tried to make a fuss out of this, the player didn't make any fuss out of this. We also heard the post-match from Chris Hughton where he admitted that the decision to bench Andre Ayew was his decision, 100%. And I'm sure that as a very experienced coach in Chris Hughton, he would have sat down and spoken to Andre Ayew about this before doing this. He knows how huge Andre is in the team. Now, the way Andre took the whole incident with no questions and no issues, I'm sure
you and I don't know this for a fact.
Listen.
I mean, at least on what's happened on camera.
We know how the Ayus are. If they're not happy with something, it shows on the pitch. If Andre is not happy about something, Jordan will react. That's how they operate.
I like that.
But for the first time, we saw Andre not in a team sheet, and Jordan was enjoying his game. So it tells me that
fair enough.
All is well with the Andres, with the Ayus. And thumbs up to Coach Chris Hughton for how he managed this. I'm 100% sure there was a discussion on this one that Andre, this is what I want to do. I'm telling you as the captain first.
He didn't mince words at the press.
Exactly. He made us understand this was my decision. And I like how everything went on in Kumasi. I know it's one of those things. Andre will understand. There's still more games to play. And for me, I think that we have the advantage now. If we win the next one, then in the next two games against Madagascar and Central African Republic, that will be quite under less pressure for us. There'll be more playing time for Andre Ayew. So for me, I think all is well. All is well. No fuss here. No issue. So let's move on.
Let me take your thoughts on that.
First of all, there should be no issue. Clearly, it's the coach's decision. As far as I'm going with the coach's
coach's thoughts. And once the coach says that it was my decision to bench Andre, it means that it actually lends credence to the fact that Andre might have been on the bench initially, but it just didn't reflect.
Absolutely. So then it comes to, but Andre has benefited from some of these things. Remember 2010 Angola? 2010 World Cup in South Africa. Stephen Appiah was seated on the bench. Sule Muntari was sitting on the bench. There was no problem. Please. It is time for the young players to be given an opportunity to prove themselves. I am not one of those people who subscribes to the thought that, somebody is old, so he should leave the team. No. I don't share in that. I think that Andre still has a big role to play in our national team. It is about Chris Hughton fashioning an important role for him to play in that way. I don't think that Andre is a 90 minutes player. I don't believe that. Clearly, I think that we can we can find a way of getting the best out of him. Some 30 minutes, 25 minutes is good for him. I think for me, those are the things. And I think that the coach has shown that he's in charge and he's not afraid to make the tough decisions. And he did say that these decisions are tough, but he's the gaffer at the end of the day. He has to make those decisions.
We need to put on record that other coaches that have come have not had the cojones to do this. And so now that he has done it, this is a big deal.
So no, but you see, that's the benefit of being part of the team, being the technical advisor for 1 year.
Yeah, he knows how to communicate with them.
He's seen the team. He knows the pulse of the team. He's tested a lot of things. He's seen the challenges that Otuado had. Probably he would have picked some technical reports and read them. I think that he knows the team, he knows the players, he knows their temperament, he knows how to handle. And I think that, look, this is not beyond him. He's handled, tougher situations at club level. Never mind, club level is not the same as the national team. But clearly, he understands what he's doing. And I think that we should allow him to... I don't like the fuss that is being built around it. Look, there are games that...
Prof, whether you like it or not, Andre is a player of magnus proportions. It's not going to be a small discussion if a captain of somebody who's been in the national team for almost 15 years.
Most capped player.
Yeah. It's not going to be just swept under the carpet like that thing has happened.
Nobody is sweeping anything under the carpet. I think that we shouldn't blow this thing out of proportion. Bottom line is, that's why I deliberately brought the 2010 example. Why? Stephen Appiah was our first captain to qualify us for the World Cup. What are we talking about? He qualified us for our first ever World Cup. He's deemed as one of the captains who came and united this team.
Tornado.
He is big. But in 2010, he sat on the bench. He was benched. Sule Muntari was benched by Andre Ayew.
Let's wrap.
So let's not even overplay this thing. Look, I think that the coach is in charge. Let's allow him to do his job. Let's allow him to take those decisions. He will live by the consequences of his decisions, the decisions that he makes. So let's allow the coach to do his work.
Let me go to Kumasi for a bit. I'll be getting there. Nathan, let me just get your thoughts briefly on this entire episode. First of all, Houghton's decision to bench Andre and not use him at all. Is that something Andre should be worried about? Or you think that this works on a game-by-game basis?
Yeah, I mean, coaches come up with plans, and if he works out his plan and says, okay, you don't fit into this one, I really don't see...
Let me just follow this up with a question and say, if he gets benched in the return leg the entire game as well, will you... Would that ring alarm bells?
Not necessarily, no. I won't...
That's no issue.
I will not make a big deal of it.
I would be surprised if he doesn't get any minutes.
Well, surprised, yes. But should we go haywire over it? I don't think so. Look, we never know what went into Chris Houghton's decision. What if Andre Ayew was injured? What if he wasn't fit? What if he wasn't in the right frame of mind? It could just be a number of reasons. In any case, we watch football all the time. Is it everybody who gets named as part of a squad who plays? Players sit on the bench and never get used. It happens. So I will not read too many things into it, because once we start to do so, it will generate unnecessary attention for this team. This team wants to do something. Mr. Houghton wants to go in a certain direction. We see, when we give coaches work to do and we are paying them the salary, why are we paying them? We are paying them to do their work. Part of the work is to take decisions. Part of the work is to take tough decisions, because you've asked him to do a job. He cannot do a job that allows him to sabotage the same task he's trying to accomplish. It won't make sense. All I'm saying is, Mr. Houghton has told her, he says, it is my decision. I say, Andrea, you sit out this one. Maybe Andrea will play the next one. For you know, maybe Andrea will even play all the games going forward. Maybe he will not play the games going forward. Maybe he'll play half an hour. The point is, once we've given a coach work to do, this is part of the work, to take the tough decisions we need. In any case, aren't majority of Ghanaians screaming all the time that Mr. Andre Ayew shouldn't be playing 90 minutes? Okay, so maybe Mr. Houghton has been listening and he says, let me try this one and see. Maybe that's not a plausible theory. Let me go to a more plausible theory. He's worked with the team before. He's had 1 year with the team. He's seen things.
He knows this team in and out.
So clearly, if he makes a decision, it is based on his own assessment, what he saw in training, how he looked at the Angolans, what kind of plan he had. Maybe in the return leg, he'll look at it and say, Andrea, you start for me because the way this game is going, you are the one holding all the keys and all the goals. So I think
Monday will answer a lot of questions for us.
I think Monday will.
Even if it's bench on Monday, no problem.
No problem.
If Ronaldo is even on the bench sometimes.
Here's something absolutely strange that says that Mr. Houghton and Andrea were involved in a fight or some nasty bust up. Then we can start getting work. But the point is, if coaches make decisions,
I have to say I disagree. I don't think it's a good sign for Andrea Ayew's career if he goes a whole international break without getting any minutes. I don't.
Let's make his point.
I think the truth is we are talking about, like you're right. Everyone has to stop at some point. That one is not in doubt. And we are at a point where we are discussing whether he should be starting, whether he should be in the team, what his role in the team is. So if he comes and he doesn't get any minutes, I'm not saying that he has to start all the games, but getting no minutes for me is a bad sign for his international career, in my opinion.
I think so too.
And see, I get your point.
But it's a big indicator of what Houghton will be
probably
going
But you
forward.
see, Ben, like I'm saying, every coach, every team, every institution works in cycles. Now, you've employed Mr. Houghton, and we are paying whatever amount it is we are paying him. We say he should succeed. Okay, so what if in his mind, the path to success requires that he has to prune this team and leave out certain characters?
That's what if... Hold on. You see, that's very understood. But I'm also saying that you cannot say that the fact that he has chosen that this is his path to succession or succeeding does not mean that dropping your captain of all these years is not significant.
I'm saying it's one game. Hold on. I'm saying it is one game. If this repeats itself, let's say over 2 international breaks, 3 international breaks, then I don't know how many people read this. For me, just one game is nothing.
Yeah,
even if it's in the next game,
I think we agree on that, but I'm saying that no minutes for one international. The warning signs, the warning bells will start ringing.
It depends on how the game will go in Angola. I'm sure maybe he may have a plan for him, but let's say we go to Angola and we are on
let's wrap it up on
and
this.
let's say we concede first and he needs to equalize and he's trying to create something different. And at that moment, Andrea is not the best person to bring on. What happens then? He doesn't get the time that he is supposed to get. Do you blame the coach for benching him?
I still think it's an indicator of your role in the team that when
your role has diminished.
Your role has diminished.
No, it's how the game will go.
I think that.
Let's conclude on this first. Let me go to the phone line.
Seriously, I think that look, the coach is just trying to tell you that it's about time we moved on. It's very important.
And that is what I'm trying to.
I think that conclusion too is a bit too.
No,
we can't get there just yet. No. I'm saying that it's only one game.
No, but I'm saying that not move on as in you're out of the team.
No. But we are changing directions.
But we are changing directions. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yes, that I agree with.
Because you see, that's why I said I went back to history. It's important. Because at the time when some of us were making this point, we also reminded the people who were benefiting that there will come a time where there will be some young players who will come and take over.
The chickens will come home to roost.
So I think that we shouldn't create any controversy about this thing at all.
Thank you.
Especially when the gentleman benefited one time.
Thank you. Let me get to the phone lines to Kumasi and talk to Sheikh Ni Abba Altani Mubarak.
It's the Arab body coming.
Oh, Charlie. Sheikh,
things are not looking good. Though.
Greetings, coach. Greetings to you in Osei Chrome. The weather is very hilarious over there. How is it going in Kumasi?
Kumasi is very good, man. After receiving the Black Stars so massively yesterday, the time is buzzing. The time is what it used to be. At the end of the day, let me tell Susu, those of us on the board of Sheikh Jassim, tell him that there is no problem at all. We want the Jim Ratcliffe and Co to submit their bid first. He shouldn't forget that we were the first to submit the bid when at the first time of access. This time around, I'm telling him that the bid will be on the table if not by the end of today, before the weekend comes to a close.
You mean you have consulted with the sheikh?
No more. It is the bid the Glazers will not reject. We want to end this.
You mean an offer you cannot reject?
No more.
Let's talk about
6 billion. We give them 6 billion.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about Andrea. I'm sure you've been following the discussion. Now, first of all, what do you make of that decision by Hilton first not to name Andre in the starting unit and also not to play him at all in the game itself?
Nketia, I've been listening to the fantastic views of the guys in the studio. Truth be told, everybody in Ghana knows my stand on this matter. Yesterday, when we got to the stadium, for the very first time in so many years, nobody knew the first 11 of the Black Stars till it was time to release the list. Even the FA official Twitter page that came out suggested that Andre was not even in the team. Not as a starter, but he hadn't dressed up at all. That was what we saw on the official Twitter page of the Ghana Football Association. So when the team came out for the warm-up, every player came at the very first time of action, apart from Andre Ayew. Every player. The 3 goalkeepers. In fact, let me state also that Jojo Wallacott was also not included as a player in the team for yesterday when the FA initially put on the official Twitter page. But when the 3 goalkeepers came, when the keepers came out, we saw that Jojo Wallacott, Ati, and Manaf came out. Now, when the Black Stars team came out to do their warm-up, Andre was not part of the team that came out. But after some 5-6 minutes, after the team had came out and received the cheers from the massive crowd at the stadium, then all of a sudden we saw a player came out of the tunnel, and that was Andre. He came to a rousing welcome. Truth be told, he was welcomed by the massive support base at the stadium yesterday. As to whether he should start games or not, everybody in Ghana knows my stand on the matter. Look, the man has been around for 16 good years. 16 years. And I've always said that it would be very, very premature for anybody to think that he should be treated like a 25, 26, 27-year-old who has now started his trade with the Black Stars. He's been around for 16 years. And truth be told again, look at Andre of late. He's lost several yards of pace. He's become a bit heavy. His speed is gone. His power is gone. One thing that is still there is his footballing brain. That, I admit, we still need in this team. So going forward, I have always said, and for me yesterday, I was not surprised at all. Because like most people have tried to exclude Chris Hughton from whatever happened in Brazil. You remember, I have always said he was part of the team. Mm-hmm. We did not give him $100,000 for him to go there and not do any work. So I've always said he was part of the technical team that failed in Brazil. And of course,
you mean Qatar?
If he was, yes, sorry, in Qatar.
Yeah.
That failed. So he showed that he was part of the team. Because I'm not sure this decision to drop Andre was taken overnight. I think it is an accumulation of a coach who's been with this team, who has observed the young man output, who has said in his press conference when he was asked what his target will be. He spoke about developing. His first statement was that we presented the youngest team at the World Cup. So this is a team that is undergoing development. And he intends to develop this team to gain a winning mentality. And let me tell you something. The best way to do so is to look into the future. That is not to say you shouldn't blend with experience at this very first moment. That is not to say so. You have to blend with experience. But in blending with experience, you should go for those experienced players who are on form, because I've always maintained that when the player is on form and he's also experienced. That is where the experience will come to his aid and make him even more dominant. But in the case of Andre, his form is not good unless you don't want to be honest. He's not on form, and as we speak, he's not playing regular team football at enough.
Nottingham Forest, yeah.
Yeah, enough minutes. Today is 5 minutes. The next one is 10 minutes. I think he's lasted only 145, 55 minutes in recent time. Now look at the man, look at those players he's going to compete with. In the modern game, the game has improved. The game, I've always said, is played on 4 important ways. Your ability to receive, your ability to act, your ability to decide, and your ability to execute the move. In the modern game, players are told that before they receive the ball, their decision and their observation will have to be long made. You observe, you decide, because the moment the ball gets to you, it has to be a simultaneous action that goes along with it. It has gone past the stage where his brains will act simultaneously from the start of the game. So he needs to start the game from the bench. That must be made very clear. Nobody should make any issue out of this. He needs to start games from the bench because that is where I believe that with his experience, he would have observed the opponent, identified the weak points in the opponent, and then come on there, coming in to do extra.
Point well made. Point well made. Let me see if I can get your thoughts on. Yeah. Just wrap it up on this for me, so I can take your points on a few other things before we let you go.
So look, I agree with Chris Hutton. He was asked the question the match conference when
I think
he had.
Coach, if you could reposition yourself for us a bit, that would help us. Your line is
okay.
Yeah, this is better.
So like I'm saying, when Chris Hutton was asked why they didn't play yesterday, I think the answer he gave completely summed it up. That it was a coaching decision. It isn't that the man was injured. He was not injured. It's based on what's going on over at the training section and over that. And that is going to be the norm. I'm saying it as a coach myself. I say that is going to be the norm. He's not going to be a regular starter.
I mean, Chris was laying down the marker. He was laying down what is to come.
Look, it's as simple as that, Ketia. We still need him. So the coaches will now decide when and where to play him. Gone are the days where his position was an untouchable. That is my point.
Let me talk to you about another issue that has come up. Let's get into the game itself now. Let's talk about Inaki Williams, because after the game, a lot of eyebrows have been raised about his performances with the Black Stars. Remember, he failed to get a shot on target at the World Cup in 3 games. In this game as well, he looked to be struggling with the wavelength of his teammates. He was playing through the middle, if I remember correctly. From a tactical point of view, why do you think Inaki is struggling to settle in with this Black Stars team?
Nketia, look, I made some very important tactical assessment of whatever happened to Inaki yesterday. The young man is a very, very good player. A fantastic player for that matter. Why do I say so? I say so because if you were there and you physically you were watching the game, you realize that Kudus Muhammad, Kamal Dean, Jordan Ayew, and then Inaki. Inaki was the only player out of these 4 that I've mentioned whose off-the-ball movement was so spot on and was absolutely brilliant. The problem yesterday was the fact that I think our players, the Jordan, the Kamal Dean, the Kudus Muhammad, and to some extent, not entirely, I think the only player I can excuse from this thing is Thomas Partey. But all the 3 guys playing behind Inaki Williams, they are not players who will release the ball on time. They are not players who will always raise their head on the very first or second touch to pick the run of the player. They will definitely want to take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 passes.
And we saw this a lot yesterday. player takes an extra touch, a passing channel closes up, the chance is gone.
Exactly. Look, if Nat Williams came at the time of Suleiman Tari, came at the time of Kudrat Samoa, if Nat Williams came at the time of Pia, a lie against him, but now bet me, look, and he would have scored about 5 goals already, accumulating. Because the topmost scorer of the Black Stars, historically, as a man, he's on record to have said that the young man's movements are excellent, but our players are not raising their heads to pick him up. He's not a technically gifted player. He's not the type of player who needs the ball to him at feet and him to turn and face the defenders. No, that is not his style. And yesterday it was so clear that he made several runs. The pass didn't come. He checked his run because he's gone into an offside position. By the time he recycled the run, we would have lost possession of the ball. So it begins afresh again. It's happening over and over and over again. So I think now the job is on the coaches. If they really want to get the best out of it, because I am worried. Because if you are playing and you have a striker and he's going to be an integral part of the team, and you cannot create at least 2 goal-scoring chances for him in 70 or 90 minutes, then that to mean that is worrisome. That is a huge, huge concern. Because if we can get him to be scoring and firing all cylinders, we are going to win football games very easily. This team is struggling for goals.
Points well made.
We need our striker to be among the goal scorers. That is the striker we've got. He's not Asamoah. Asamoah had a blend of a striker who could play very well with his back to goal and who had genuine pace. So Asamoah could blend both with his back to goal or with the ball into space for him to go and pound. In the case of this young man, the ball he knows his game. That is why he's always on the move. That is why the moment the ball gets to the attackers or his teammates, the midfielders, he's the first person to give that angular movement. But again, like I said, Kurusu, Kamaldino, Jordan Ayew, there were moments where the war pass could have simplified issues severally.
But didn't do it.
Didn't do it. Another point that I really want to make is about the midfield player. I need to comment on the Edmond Ado issue.
Please do, just quickly.
Quickly without delay. Those who are closer to the young man should tell him that anytime he gets a call up to the Black Star, he should forget about the fact that he's playing to justify his inclusion in the team. He's one of the best players the coaches believe can do a job. So he should step in there and stand his authority. Yesterday, the number of times Thomas Partey had to, you people were watching on TV, so you couldn't see that. But the number of times that Partey had to coach him and had to make him aware of his movement as a midfield partner, it was unpardonable, was completely unacceptable. And again, there were moments where he saw the pass, but technically the execution was bad. And there were 3 occasions where he was under no pressure. He did the very good thing. The weight and the execution of the ball was absolutely very, very bad. And so I was saying that we needed Salis to come on. And when Salis came on, that was where the whole dynamics of the team came. And again, we've got natural wingers in this team. The Joseph Pence, the Osman Bukhari, they are natural wingers, and the wingers that are on goal-scoring form. So we want to see them given enough time to impact games. If you put Joseph Pence in there and you give them like 12 minutes, you bring Osman Bukhari in the last 7 minutes. No, come on, man. Where the changes were obvious, I think the Tenta team could have done a bit more to freshen. But look, everybody be patient. This is Chris Hughton's first big game as head coach of the Black Stars. He's had one proper training session. I think the team will have to get better and improve. And look, we are not as good as we think we are. The last time the Black Stars defeated a top 10 team on the continent of Africa was in 2017. And if you do your calculation, it's been 6 years since we last did that. And if you say we want to go and win the AFCON, then it still means that we need to give this team time to develop, to be able to compete against the best on the continent. But as it stands, we are not as good as we were, as we once were. But look, It's a huge transformational exercise that we need to all be patient with and allow the team to work.
I think you've made very comprehensive points there. Just before we let you go, the boys say they know how you do your things. So we are behind you. Nathan wants to say a quick word to you before you go.
No more.
Okay, sir. Yes, boss.
Okay,
yeah, we know how you operate. So yeah, you know.
Yeah, no more.
Shake me, Abba.
I told him Sheikh Yassin is not going to put in a day.
Coach, I'm here. I was watching Sky Sports and they said that things are not looking good. It's not me, oh, coach. It's not me. It's not me. Oh, I'm not.
So you see, people at Sky, when they say things are not looking good, they are not saying they are not looking good that the man is not going to put the bid. No. He's putting in the bid. You see, the first time when he put in the bid, Jim Ratcliffe and Cole looked at what he put in. And they said, we can go and borrow money to that effect and come with the same
That money is not coming. It's not coming.
This one is not going to borrow. So all
there's
of them
cash.
put in their base. No more 6 billion. Cash down. The check is a blank check.
Coach, the Arab money is not coming. Oh. It's not coming. So just
no more. I know that is your prayer. I know that is your prayer. The money is in. Oh. No more. The blood of Jesus wash your face to see good.
Coach, thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Hopefully we'll see you in Accra very soon.
Sure.
You heard Coach Christopher Nimley there, managing to touch on Manchester United and their bid some way, somehow. I know.
You know, but
yeah.
Very interesting submissions from Chris. And on the Edmond Addo thing, I watched that game and I walked away from that game again without Edmond Addo making a strong argument to me.
With Baba Idrisu out of the picture,
yes,
this was a position he was supposed to make his own.
A great opportunity to give Mr. Houghton a few things to think about in that position. Because as soon as Salis came on,
the game changed.
Partey felt more at ease. And then eventually, you know, the breakthrough came, you know. So I think Edmond Addo needs to really look at himself and he needs to take some of these opportunities. You see, because when there's a new manager in and he stated that a team is in transition, meaning that for a period, the doors are open for people to try and try. Those who make a good impression. Yeah. Let's not forget that Edmond Addo, he's already chasing Salis and co. They've gone to a World Cup.
And Salis has been elite in the French League this season.
They've gone to a World Cup.
He's basically outplayed almost every opponent.
If you look at how RC Lens are playing, they are heading for a Champions League qualifying position. And they're top 3.
Exactly.
So he could be playing Champions League football next season.
You know.
And his Champions League football, you were playing for Sheriff Tiraspol.
Yeah.
With all due respect, from the Moldovan League, they basically had to play from qualifying round 2 or 1 to get to the Champions League. No one even believed in them. When Salis goes and plays RC Lens, they have a good chance of getting to the next round because French teams are some of the better teams in the competition. So he has a bigger platform. And you're in Serbia now.
I think that
it's
position
a very difficult competition.
There's no doubt about that position.
Salis,
he's made it his own.
I think that he's made it his own. You know,
in what 3 games at the World Cup? Just 3 games.
You know what? The problem we had with Baba Idrisu was simple. That defensively he was solid.
He just
when
couldn't.
he won the ball, he could not pick the right pass. Yeah. But Salis is giving.
Salis can do all of it.
Where the right pass means what? Because I say that all of us here around this table all admit that to play in the La Liga and to play in Baba Idrisu's position, your passing has to be decent.
Yeah.
So that's okay. The second question is what kind of pass?
Well, I think that for what Chris Houghton himself said, I want to believe that players like Baba Idrisu will form part of the continuity unit. So you are
I get
in the middle.
I'm just asking Jesse. Jesse's making a point.
Keep the ball circulating.
You say you can't pick the pass.
So the right pass is like your 30-yard, your 40-yard pass.
Fair point.
Then again, progressing the ball because of course when you win the ball, you've got to be able to progress it, and that aspect of his game is also not.
It's fair to say that primarily that is not his role. But if you can do that on top of your primary role,
added value.
And also staying calm. Salis has that calmness.
Salis trusts his ability on the ball and not just his ability to break up play. I think it makes a big difference in this game.
What it does for Partey is that it doesn't give him that stress of thinking, you know,
he'll lose the ball, so let me try.
He's assured, so he can do more adventurous
so he can
things.
go forward. You understand?
see,
So I think that for me is.
Let him finish. Okay.
That for me is. This is the reason why Salis has made that position his own.
Yeah. I just want to compliment Jesse's point. So, you know, on FB Ref, they have these percentiles they do to talk about players. So if you look at Baba Idris, his percentile, his pass percentage is 79.7. So that's in the 33rd percent. So he's in the bottom third for midfielders. Progressive passes, he's in the 5th percentile.
Wow.
Yeah, progressive carries, 3rd percentile. You know, so you can see that this is a guy who's good at stopping the ball, but when it comes to moving the ball forward, clearly
He's not your guy.
you can see he's one of statistically in the top 5 leagues. He's one of the worst midfielders at it. So it's backed up by stat, and that's the thing. It's cool when he was playing Partey, but if you have someone who can also progress the ball along with Partey, it makes a difference.
Well, Ben, I want to touch on the sort of support
hold on a
our
bit.
strikers have.
Okay, just come through with your point, and then I'll read some messages. Just go.
So I think Coach made a very good point about why Iñaki Williams is struggling. I think that is something we need to look at. The sort of players behind him don't really provide enough support. You look at Kamaldeen Sulemana. Yes, he's good with his runs, his dribbles and all that, but to try and pick Iñaki Williams, that final ball, he's always struggling. Jordan Ayew also on the right-hand side, the same issue. Kudus, you all know. Kudus, yes, picks up the ball, tries to turn, tries to run. But
His passing is not his strength.
That's the final ball for Iñaki to try and... I think throughout the whole game, I saw when Semenyo came on, it was that through ball from Partey to him. That was the only clear channel you could see, like, okay, someone was trying to send in that through pass for Semenyo to pick a ball. Going forward, I think that they need to speak to these players behind the striker, because if our striker will have to always be isolated, try to ask for support from you guys and it's not coming, then clearly he will fail to score.
I think that
it's just a matter of time before Ghanaians turn on Iñaki now, because people will be like, okay.
Ghanaians are impatient. You know, the ordinary Ghanaian fan doesn't have time for all the tactical intricacies we are discussing.
The same metrics they use for Jordan, that he's playing, he's not scoring. Very soon they'll start using the same thing for Iñaki Williams.
It leads us to now. You see, when we talk about Iñaki Williams and his struggles, that speaks to the structure of the team. So now, Mr. Houghton has decisions to make. Now, first decision: what does he do with Kudus? I remember we're discussing it on this unveiling. I think we were making that point. Play Kudus off a flank. Then it would mean
play
that
him up top as part of a front three. Yeah.
Then it means that then you have other decisions to make. Either start one of Kamaldeen or Jordan. Then it means you need to find somebody to play behind Iñaki Williams. Now that leads us to this question of where do we play Thomas Partey? Do you move him slightly up the pitch because of all the midfielders we have? It looks like he's the one who can raise his head and pick a pass and find Iñaki. Because when we watch Iñaki, his movement is very good. The pass won't come. And I always say that, look, for someone to watch a game and tweet about the fact that a striker makes a run and the pass doesn't come. He understands.
I mean, he can feel the frustration.
He can feel Inyaki's frustration. And like we're all saying, very soon, the fans will start to jump on him, because for them, you've been brought in to score the goals. You are not scoring the goals.
On Pichichi's thing about the chance creation, I don't even think necessarily we need that penetrative passing, because if our wingers are so talented on the ball, they can get into the box and play the ball, cut backs, play the ball across. But they weren't even doing that. That was part of the problem. There was never a point where they got the ball, got into the box and created something. It was always they wanted to shoot. That was a bigger problem than whether they passed or not. And then just a small thing. If you come talking about the passing and thing, look at Salis's pass completion. 91.3%. Look, that's a gap. And if you go to progressive passes, he's in the 56th percentile. So you can see there's a difference in passing quality.
There's levels.
And they are both getting, winning the ball back around the same rate. So there's a clear difference.
He has an added advantage. Let me read a few messages and then I'll take more thoughts on the Black Stars before we talk a bit about Julian Nagelsmann and how he's been ousted for Toto Aluti. Let's get into it. There's a Moses Kofi Noy says, what's more frustrating than to be a Ghanaian and a Chelsea fan as well? This one says, greetings to you all. So this is all that top-notch coach Chris Houghton, you people are saying can do. What we saw against Angola There was no parting of play. We didn't see any tactics from him. What we saw were players chase the ball. So anyone who speaks against Siki and Otto that the Black Stars can't perform because of coaching should go and beg them, because we saw a certain parting and tactics from Otto in the 2 games against Nigeria for the World Cup qualifier, and even some in the World Cup matches that were played. Santana from Choco, I think you should calm down. The coach has played only 1 match. You don't expect that tactics would have been assimilated.
And there's a history of coaches. Grant lost his first game.
Exactly. In fact, he's our first coach. Among the last 5 coaches we've had, he's the only one to have won his first game.
Absolutely. So
I think
Milo won his first.
Yeah, Milo.
You guys want?
You mean the return Milo?
The second Milo.
Okay.
And Concept also won his first game.
Do you want an interesting update?
Give it to
from
us.
The Euro qualifiers.
From the France.
Oh, the Netherlands are getting pasted.
Oh, it's France 3, Holland 0. And it's less than 30 minutes.
I mean, fair enough. They're missing players from a virus that broke out in camp. I'm not saying it's an excuse.
Antoine Griezmann, Dayo Upamecano, and the new captain, Kylian Mbappe.
Oh, Charlie.
I hear Griezmann is very upset.
Charlie.
About the decision.
Why is he upset?
Because in his mind,
Mbappe wills more influence.
He thought that after Lloris, he was going to be team captain.
He should think again.
I can understand why he would think that. When you have close to as many caps as he has, I think he's very close to the 100 cap mark.
But Mbappe at his age is almost at 70 caps.
You see, it's seniority.
Let's not even digress. What is more important, seniority or influence? You might be senior in the team, but somebody might wield more influence in the team.
That one we don't really know team dynamics, to be fair.
This is what I can say about Mbappe.
Actually, Griezmann has 117 caps. Sorry, I've even underrated.
This is what I will say though about Mbappe. A few months ago, and so I think you know that story where the France national team met. The federation wanted them to take team pictures, like mandatory team. Mbappe said no. And that they hadn't renegotiated their image rights.
It
caused a major stir. So I think this move I see it more political than for football reasons. I think they're
trying to soften
They are trying to kind of soften Mbappe a bit and recognize that, look, this dude has power.
Yep.
So let's just...
If Macron is begging Mbappe to stay at PSG,
And you see, the other thing is this, that it's clear that the French national team, they need to move on.
Yeah.
You understand? And the new face for the new...
And if he becomes captain, he has like almost a decade. You have like almost 10 years in the job.
And Griezmann is really...
It gets into the twilight of his career. Let me Bellyman from Tema says this Nigerian players are selfish too much. They never give Osimhen the ball, even when he is one-on-one with the goalkeeper. But you can't spoil my bet and still qualify for the AFCON. It won't happen. You spoil my bet, you spoil your AFCON chance. Simple. Hey, Charlie, investors ball. Charlie. No, but Nigeria, we need to talk about them. You can't have all these forwards and go and lose to Guinea-Bissau. It's unacceptable.
Let's not go down this path. Let's not go down this path.
Why not?
Did we not see the last AFCON we went to go and do over there? I don't. We as a country of all people should not be talking about.
We don't have even anything close to Nigeria's firepower. True or false?
No, that one I agree. Like I even said this sometimes. I'll take their 4th best striker for us. I'll take it. But these losses happen. Let's not get on our high horse.
But
just saying.
We all know it's very common with Nigeria.
Even they want
drama.
Remember they lost to Central African Republic in their last qualifiers at home. It happens.
But this is part of why Nigeria have slipped off as a major power on the continent. What Senegal is now is what Nigeria used to be. True or not? Yeah, that's what it is. Let me just read.
We all know how this episode went. Their manager Jose Alvarado.
Yeah.
Pressure.
Yeah. Let's read more messages. This one says, thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the Best Sports Show. Please tell Coach to drop some herbal concoction formula because tonight the weather has been blessed. Hey, gentlemen.
Hey, boys.
He said, I just lost some good money because of Nigeria. But still, Nigeria worry boys this evening. This one here says, my beloved Sports Panorama is here again. Good evening to everyone on today's edition. Yesterday's match, though, we were told to play with caution. Were they told to play with caution? And because I didn't feel the energy until the coach made substitutions. Osei Jordan, Ama Ejewa from Ofanko. Big ups to Ama Ejewa. She called into the show last week, I believe. Jude from Kakasunaka says, if we had drawn yesterday's game, Ghanaians would have slammed Partey for being unpatriotic because he didn't dribble 11 opponents to score the winning goal. And also, not making a single tackle because he completed the game with a very neat outfit and was thinking of his club side more than the national team. Interesting. This one here says, Oh, our good friend. Watches 6 CDs.
Shit on kwa.
He says he's texting from East Legon. He says, good evening to the seniors. Special greetings to Ni Abba Sheikh Mubarak Altani. Guys, see, Kumasi is something else. What a turn up. We thank them. Please, when is the road show? I would like to join Sports Panorama, Ketil Club, and Pok. If they go on rough. Watches 6 CDs. If Andre's name was not on CAF's list, he isn't supposed to be on the bench. Somebody's saying that in there. Divine from Ho. I think I missed out on that message. Hold on. This one here says, hi, Ben. Good evening to you guys. Tuchel has been appointed. Yes, we know that. Teddy from Pando. More messages. This one here says, okay, I think I've read that already. This one says, hi, Ben. Good evening. Man City fans as Tuchel has been appointed. Bayern boss. Teddy from Pando again. Okay, since our attackers are just not playing like a team, the build-up should be fast and quicker. Congrats to the Black Stars. Okay, guys, let me just take quick thoughts before we move on to a different topic. We have a return leg against Angola on Monday. I want to take thoughts on what every one of you here thinks should change. So let me start with you.
Honestly, I have to say, Kamaldeen was very disappointing.
He's still yet to have a really good game for Ghana.
I think he should go back to the bench. I think I wanted Pencil to start. I was thinking rather Jordan should have been on the bench for Pencil because I thought Jordan would not show that much attacking ambition. And I said
and Pencil won the foul that won us the game.
Yeah. But even then, I think he struggled a bit coming off the bench. He couldn't really impact the game. So
his rhythm was off.
Let's see him from the start. Jordan actually impressed me in the first half. He seemed to be our most exciting player in the first half. Him and Dennis Odoi did a lot of good work down the right to start the game. Eventually, Jordan went off, things, whatever. But I think he's done enough for me to earn his start. I think Kudus, it was a bit crowded for him. He struggled. I think, for me, the only player who I think had enough opportunity to make something happen and didn't is Kamaldeen. So he should go to the bench. And like Coach said, Edmond Ado, I don't think
skillful.
I don't think he's the right partner. If we are seeing these struggles with passing, I think we should get Salis or Ashimeru. But considering it's an away game, you want a bit more defensive solidity in that midfield. So let's go with Salis.
Hilton does not gamble with his solidity and balance.
No. And the way qualifying is away, the way international football is, that home and away matters more in international football than at club level. So I would prefer us to go with the Salis option.
And I feel like Angola will be very confident about how this game went, especially if you get
because we struggled.
And remember, this Angolan team saw the pitch the very first time the game was played. They had not seen the pitch. They had not trained on the pitch. That's what Nathan nearly end the goalless draw.
That's what Nathan said yesterday. That if this is them without training, if they train, we are dead.
And they'll be going home. They'll be playing in front of their crowd. Just quick thoughts. I think what changes?
The Angolans will obviously open up, so there will be spaces in the game. I think. For me, I would love to see Jordan on the left rather. Start, Kamaldeen should be benched. No problem for me. Pencil should operate from the right. And, try and get on Bukari early. Basically, that's what. And then Jordan, Edmonado,
goes to the bench. I think Salis didn't start because he was the last player to arrive in camp.
So I think that he will eventually start.
Yeah,
I mean,
he definitely starts.
Those are our best starters. I think that I don't know about Mo Salisu situation now, but
he had a knock. Hopefully, he'll be ready for the game. Yeah, hopefully.
So obviously, for me, he goes back with the
So Amate Salisu or Amate or Salisu Jiku?
Salisu partnership for me.
Amate Salisu. People say Amate's game is slipping. Amate is slipping.
But you see, it's the national team. I mean, and he's very confident, and this is a partnership that has been
we know.
He's right. Amate has been not great at club level, but you can't play him and Joseph Edu, for example, because they don't have that understanding. So we have to
now figure it out.
We have to stick with
what we know.
Either Amate Jiku or Amate Salisu, but I'll go for Amate Salisu.
I'm hoping for good news from the camp in terms of injury. Hoping Salisu will be fit, Jiku will be fit, because if they are not, Edu. But I think I agree with my.
Talida who you do I know they like. You need to explain that with diagrams. What do you mean by that?
See, we've been here before. We saw Edu.
Was it a game against Ethiopia?
Yeah, costing us a goal because of how unsure he was with his ball control and all that. So I'm not confident in the Edu. So that's where it's coming from. I feel Kamaldeen Sulemana, I agree with Susu and Prof. He needs to be on the bench and rework his mind again. I think that we need to take a gamble on Iñaki William, I would go for Semenyo starting this one. Because at the moment, he has that confidence.
Will you say it's because of the chemistry or because you don't think Inaki is good enough?
I think because Semenyo has scored, the confidence may be high at the moment. And so if I was to be recruiting, I would just start him to see how he fares as a starter in that game against Angola. Yes, as Prof said, they are playing home now, so Angola should be a more open and opposition than what they were in Kumasi. On the pitch, they have good midfielders. I think from their captain, Freddie and they show that they have enough chemistry between each other. They've played for some time now, so they know each other so well. And I think that we need to also try and move Partey up high the pitch a little, because if the likes of Kudus and Jordan will not pass the ball fast, then we need
somebody who can do that
closer to our number 9 to pass the ball faster and get us the goal. So that's the gamble I'll take. Take off Iñaki, start Semenyo, bench Kamaldeen Sulemana for either Jordan on that left-hand side, and then maybe Pintel on the right-hand side, and then we have Partey 4-1-4-1. Partey and Kudus behind Semenyo.
I would just make a quick comment on that. I say that play Inaki on the left wing. Play him like Bilbao play him sometimes. Not necessarily as a left winger, but as a left forward.
Like what Cristiano Ronaldo used to
like a left forward. So he's supposed to be on the left wing, but he will find ways to drift in. I mean, carry along his marker inside, leave space for Gideon Mensah to do his thing, even though it must be properly checked, because if Gideon decides to go haywire, I will be in trouble. Helder Costa literally had my man on a split yesterday. It was up, down. It was one of Gideon Mensah's more difficult games. I mean, I like Gideon Mensah.
You doubled him.
No, it was actually, and it didn't help that Kamaldeen doesn't want to track back.
And that's the problem.
Kamaldeen starting to frustrate me. Honestly.
Oh, you frustrate you, don't worry.
Because he's one of our most talented players, but there's always something to complain about. I don't like it. I don't like criticizing players.
I want to believe he's young and he will grow out of it.
No.
I've said it. It's okay. I'm moving on. Nobody will criticize Kamaldeen. It's okay. It's okay. Boys don't want to hear that Kamaldeen is young. You mean this one we did Jordan. And then we kept saying now we started redefining the roles. Defensive striker, wing tracking back.
I just want to say.
So please, somebody should be talking to
Kamaldeen.
No, that's his point well made. For me, look, his end product is very, very poor. He almost reminded me
we need to move on.
Quincy.
I would just say that I think decision making improves with age and experience. That's how I want to leave it at. You want to make a quick point?
Please, we have to watch out for what's his name? Inzola,
yeah. So we asked 10 top goal scorer.
Look, the guy is scoring now.
Yeah.
The guy is so fast. He
got a chance in the first 10 minutes. I think he let us off the hook. It was a one-time shot he had taken. He took an extra touch and then the chance was gone. If he had taken it, the game could have been very different. Let's talk about Bayern Munich and their happenings. Guys, I say that Oliver Kahn and his people saw Pep Guardiola on the horizon and said, no, Julian, we can't let you do this no more. Because I think, and I'm saying this because I think Bayern genuinely think that this Champions League is there for the taking. And they feel like Nagelsmann is not that guy to beat Guardiola. That's my point. Nathan, let me take your thoughts on this.
Look, the episode...
So for those who are just joining in, Bayern have fired Julian Nagelsmann. They've hired Toto Alute, a.k.a. Thomas Tuchel, former Chelsea boss, to take his place. Please make your point.
I think Nagelsmann's position, from the start of the season, after a few game weeks, there were people who started to say that this guy...
I honestly thought he would have been fired before now.
Oh, yeah. He made some
there were...
He made what?
There were a few...
El Pichi. You mean you had a haircut?
You had a haircut. You know, there were a few of the games that left Bayern fans very worried, and some members of the board quite concerned that probably Nagelsmann was not a good fit. In terms of tactics, Nagelsmann is very brilliant. But Nagelsmann's problem, and if you read the inside stories, they'll tell you that Nagelsmann's problem was that the players felt he was overcomplicating everything.
Is he not taking after his mentor?
Overcomplicating a lot of things that were very simple and basic. Players felt that he was trying all kinds of strange things. For example, they cite the recent loss to Bayer Leverkusen, where in Nagelsmann's head, João Cancelo was supposed to have been playing as a number 10. But somehow
he started as a wing.
started as a
After
wing
10
back.
minutes, Nagelsmann said,
They go and play number 10.
this game, the way it's going, go and play 10.
And then Cancelo didn't know whether to stay or go. And all kinds of funny things happen.
Julian Nagelsmann.
They talk about how he alienated a player like Thomas Muller, how he didn't give opportunities to the youngsters.
Ryan Grafenberg, I'm calling that one of the most horrible career moves ever.
You know, so a lot of things,
I second this.
A lot of things were happening, right? And then you had people like Oliver. So initially, Oliver Kahn was on Nagelsmann's side because he felt that he could deliver. But the larger part of the board did not really get convinced.
Honest and Co.
They were not convinced by Nagelsmann and all of that. Meanwhile, in the Champions League, they admit that his numbers were brilliant, 8 out of 8 in the Champions League. But I think the perfect excuse they found was that he was 1 point behind Dortmund in the league.
And this Dortmund side is a newly put together team.
And so the fear is that, okay, the Champions League, we may win or may not win, but the German league, we cannot let go. So once he's a point behind Dortmund, it's the perfect time to throw him off the ship and then bring in Thomas Tuchel. Now, the other reason
why... Dortmund on the 1st of April. Yep.
The other reason why Bayern Munich have picked or have decided to go with this is that they've missed out on Tuchel the first time when he left Dortmund and went to PSG because in Tuchel's mind, Bayern waited too long to make a decision. And Bayern feel that if they do not act now, Tuchel will slip again. He's inactive. Already, Tuchel has gone to see a few Bayern games. There are reports that he has been walking his dog around the Bayern Munich building, kind of reminding people that, hey, I'm still inactive. Oh. I don't have a job. Oh. But there are people talking.
Charlie, he don't come in himself.
So now they have their man. But and I think the final decision was that they looked at Munich as a team and looked at the fact that this is Man City we are going to play against. And they would not want to walk into that game not too sure of what's going to happen, and then they get absolutely slaughtered. Because, Ben, you're right. In Munich's mind, they feel that this is a competition they can win.
Yep.
Because they think that Real Madrid they
look shaky this season.
A little shaky.
Yep.
Man City, they are not too sure.
Yep.
Liverpool are out. So now is their chance to see if they can win another Champions League title, get close in terms of numbers, and then see what happens. So for Nagelsmann, a lot of the other things, if I can even talk about the trivial things, they accuse Nagelsmann of not being serious, not acting like a Bayern Munich manager. He once showed up at training on a skateboard. And then the people say, what is this guy doing?
Nah,
you know, and then they say his girlfriend is an ex-Bild reporter. Bild is the biggest sports paper. So they kind of feel that,
you know, they've had some issues
with Bild,
with Bild, you know, leaks.
You know, one of his tactical things leaked. So he kind of put some things in the board on the dressing room on how they should play against. Was it Bochum or something?
And then somehow
ended up in the newspaper.
The other hand in the newspaper. So lots of things surrounding Nagelsmann, but it happens. You know, I say that if you're a manager, your career trajectory is very important, right? When you move from one job, know how to get the next one and the next one. So you build yourself up for the biggest job of your career. Bayern Munich was being coached by Nagelsmann at age 35.
Yep.
He's so young and he's fighting against an institution that is so huge.
So old.
Yep. And very political.
You see how old people, they bring down young men.
No, this one. You know, this statement has a lot of heat behind it. And it's not just football heat.
Yeah, so that's it. Nagelsmann is gone. Tuchel comes in. He'll quickly take charge. He starts his work on Monday. What I'm hearing is that now that Nagelsmann is free, Tottenham Hotspur are beginning to rub their hands and say, maybe it could be time to kick Antonio Conte out and bring in Nagelsmann.
All the coaches are... Anyway, so let me take your thoughts on that. I think that, like Nathan is saying, I agree with the Bundesliga, but I think Bayern know that they will navigate the Bundesliga one way. I feel like the Champions League, they saw that as a perfect opportunity to say, you know what, maybe there are other undertones, but...
It's personal. I don't think it's a football thing.
Because who gets sacked on international break? Like, it doesn't happen.
You see, the international break is the right time to sack the manager. But when you look at where Bayern are this season, are you saying that if you look at it, okay, 1 point, you are yet to play Dortmund. So it's not like they're out of sight.
It's not
a desperate situation. You are still in the Champions League quarterfinal. So for me, if you are Bayern and you start giving these excuses that the form is personal. They have issues.
There are undertones.
No, there's personal clashes with the guy, and And some of them too have been his handling of the media, because there was an incident where he basically kind of insulted. Was it the referees or something? He's been making some statements in the media that
on Bayern like.
Yeah, they feel he's too brash. You know.
So
and this is a traditional organization.
So I'm saying that if it's more, I feel like it's not a football issue. I think he's not been sacked for football reasons.
I just don't think it's a good fit.
If we look at it from a football's perspective,
That's
this move
fine.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But if you look at all the other things involved, I can understand. They don't like him as a person.
Let me
the
ask
way
you.
he
Let
manages
me
the
ask
job.
you legit. Do you think that Nagelsmann stood a chance of making it past Manchester City?
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Fair
Of
enough.
course.
Fair
This
enough.
was, it was a 50-50 game.
Yes,
And I'm 100% sure he would have beaten Dortmund on the 1st of April and won the league.
I think that, yes, I also think he would have had a chance. Even though, to be honest, if I compare this Bayern, this iteration of Bayern Munich and previous iterations, I'd say that, whereas say previous iterations, I'd say 70%.
Yeah.
That's about 50-50. But I think that Nagelsmann probably would have found
Let me just take concluding thoughts on Prof and
Quick one.
Peaches,
Yeah.
then we'll go.
For me, I think that the moment the report came out that he had fallen out with the senior players of Bayern Munich, and it was just a matter of time.
How can you
before-
fall out with Thomas Müller?
Exactly.
because the last coach,
any manager
Niko
who does
Kovac
that-
was the last
Yeah.
one who tried it.
Good. Any manager who does that is in trouble. And I also think that Bayern as a team have looked at the situation here. See, Thomas Tuchel has the experience. He's won the Champions League before. So, and he won the Champions League with Chelsea when he took over mid-season. So they know what he can do as a manager when you give him a chance mid-season. And so they have weighed their options and felt that, see, let's go for someone who has done it before. No Matrai Makwe. This is someone.
Lotte.
Yes. And as Nathan said, they've already admired the coach long time ago. So
They've been flirting with him for a
all
while.
the factors were there for him to be their next manager. And I think it's the best time for him to come in now. We know what Tuchel can do. He doesn't need much time to implement his what? Trademark football on
And
his
Bayern
team.
have players. They don't,
Exactly.
it's not like a team that needs refurbishment.
And also, he knows the Manchester City team. He knows how to battle against Pep Guardiola already.
Yep.
He's met him over and over.
Tried
He
and
knows how
tested.
to beat Pep. So it's
that
the
he knows how
perfect-
to beat Pep.
Let's wait and see.
Oh, he knows how to beat Pep. Oh, he knows how to
See,
Does he see or does
Toto
he?
Alote knows how to beat
Does
Pep.
he or
you
does
see,
he?
relax.
I'm relaxed.
Relax. One of those, there was 3 in a row, right?
Yeah.
Then after that, was it 4 in a row
Yeah.
for Pep?
Yep.
Is that someone who really knows how to beat them? Because to lose 4 in a row after winning
but
the
a very- but very few managers do Pep.
because he won the most important match.
exactly.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
But
Yep.
if you look at the actual record,
You think it's kind of 50-50?
it's over. It's
overrated.
It's
No,
Pep
see,
stopping at
I
it's
meant that he
overrated.
knows how to beat Pep. And so he's the best man for
Let's
the job.
keep it out. Jesse,
Well,
conclude for us.
I think that, look, Bayern have assessed the situation. I was a bit skeptical about Nagelsmann and that move, right from,
Hoffenheim. Straight to Bayern.
Straight to Bayern. It was that. For me, I thought it was a big opportunity, yes, but I think that institution is huge, and for me, look, Champions League quarterfinals against Man City, you have an opportunity to get this coach in there. They've made that decision. And for me, I think that if it comes to Tuchel, I want to agree with Evans, that he knows how to beat. He knows how to beat.
He knows how to beat.
And look, let's not joke about it. We have always said that Pep in such games, he will always overthink the situation, and you need a coach who can take advantage of such situations and make. And look, the Bayern Munich team has some good players, very, very good players. And look, I think that Tuchel, when he moved to Chelsea, if you looked at that Chelsea team and what he was able to get out of his players,
Yeah, they are looking at their team now and they say, you can overdo.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm looking at this Bayern Munich team and I think that, look, there are some fantastic players in there that this coach can get the best out of.
He should play Ryan Grafenberg. That's what's important.
Baba, you see, he has to come home.
Somebody's poison is our food. I would like him at Liverpool. Let's any quick sounds before
Maybe
you
they
go.
should get Gavi. No, Gavi's contract is expiring. Maybe
But
Liverpool should go for
the
that.
contract that Barcelona said they are giving him, the court has revoked.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't have a
Yeah,
contract.
he's also, Klopp also loved that player.
So you come home.
I mean, that's a very
prof. Everybody is coming home.
There's a very interesting article on the Athletic. So what the Athletic commissioned all their clubs. So
all of them to beg.
All of them wrote like letters to Gavi saying that, assuming you were on, say, Liverpool's board or Man City's board, write a pitch to Gavi. You should read all that. It's like ridiculous things.
They were begging. They were begging.
Just quick shout outs before we go. Quick shout.
I think a good friend of mine, David Kwachi, is celebrating his birthday today. David, wherever you are, I know you are out of this country, but surely you should be monitoring.
Thank you very much, David. Listen to Panorama. David, even if you are in Antarctica, you should listen.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, I want to give a shout out to a literary giant of this country. Yesterday was Amata Edu's birthday. So we are giving her a shout out.
The one and only
from the Sports Panorama team.
I'm up.
Yeah, he's on his feet. Yeah, I'm on my feet. She's a big woman, so we have to give her a shout out as a national icon. So that's from the Sports Panorama team.
Nice one. Pichichi?
Well, mine goes to the head of the Citi newsroom, Middle Belt. That's Edward Marfo.
Yeah. He's not bad.
He made Kumasi nice.
Hey, Pichi. What? No, hold on. The way Pichichi is smiling and they say he made Kumasi nice. It's a very loaded statement.
I see come to see the head.
He made Kumasi what?
Nice.
Thank you very much, brother. I like that.
You have done comedy. So now Kumasi will be always
Marfo
nice.
is not called the Middle Belt Bureau Chief.
Do you know Bureau Chief?
You know the correspondent to
No.
Middle Belt Bureau Chief. No, he's a big man. Nathan, you have any shout out? Okay, so that's it from us here in the studio. My name is Benjamin Nketiah. Show probably brought to us by Betway. Thank you guys out there for your thoughts. Thank you for tuning in to listen. The show will be uploaded on SoundCloud. Of you who couldn't catch it can catch the stream again on YouTube. Thank you to Nathan Kwao, to LPT, Susu Graham, and Jesse Amponsa, aka the Professor. That's it from us here. The man just gave me ambience in the studio. My name is Benjamin Nketiah. Same time next week. You know where to find us.